Hello people! Welcome to Science Theory. If you see this on the internet, this is probably because I felt like this would be a good video and decided to post it. It's not. Don't expect it to be. If you expect this to be about FNAF, it's not. This is science. It's not like there's ever been science in Five Nights at Freddy's. Anyways, I'm Xankos and I'll be your scientist today. In today's episode, we'll be talking about the water cycle, nitrogen cycle, and the eutrophication. Hold on. Eutrophication cycle. Okay, eutrophication cycle with dead zones. I told you. You will leave this video now. Anyways, the first thing I'm here to talk about is the water cycle, and we should start with evaporation. Now, a good example of this is from a show I used to watch called Storybutts.
Guys, look! Over there!
Wow! Is that magic?
It's not magic, it's evaporation.
Evaporation?
Evaporation. When water heats up, it turns into a vapor that is so light, it floats into the air.
Now, from the clip, evaporation is when liquid water changes into water vapor from the sun rays or the temperature of the sun. It could happen from the oceans, pools, lakes, rivers, and even soil if there's any liquid in it. Now, speaking of water vapors, our next subject is surrounding transpiration, which is when water vapor from plants goes up and into the atmosphere. Now, the bigger question is, how do these two help each other? Well, I'll tell you. Since both transpiration and evaporation work together in a tangent, it creates a thing called evapotranspiration, which is basically the combined effect of evaporation and transpiration. Now, our next subject is surrounding condensation. Condensation is when water vapor cools into these tiny little liquid droplets and form into clouds or even fog, which gives us rain. Speaking of rain, precipitation, our big word for when water falls from the atmosphere above us as rain, snow, sleet, or even hail sometimes, raining down from the cloud above like an invitation on our land. Our next subject, which surrounds infiltration actually. Infiltration is when water soaks into the ground and becomes groundwater, essentially in a way, mud. Now, we have our percolation. You might have heard about it. It's when a downward movement of water goes through soil and rock layers. Runoff shapes our rocks into what they are today. Then we have runoff, which is when when water flows over the land surface into rivers, lakes, and oceans. Basically use it and recycle all over again. Groundwater flow, which is when water has movement through aquifers underground such as these, and an aquifer is when an aquifer is an underground layer of soil that is saturated with water and can actually transmit this water into springs from these pipes or perhaps even into wells as well. Now, cycling back to snow for a moment. Sublimation, basically when ice or even snow changes directly into a water vapor such as that, and therefore since the sun rays melts ice and snow down, sublimation takes place, and that's how we get our water vapor from the Antarctic or even snowy areas. Now for our last definition for the water cycle, deposition. Deposition is when water vapor like this directly turns into ice instead of the normal water. Without becoming a liquid. It basically bypasses the entire water cycle and stays as ice. That is how our Antarctic actually stays the way it is. Pretty cool, right? Why is there sugarcane there? To our second cycle, which is the nitrogen cycle actually. Our atmosphere is actually made up of 78% nitrogen. Crazy, right? Which helps our body get said nitrogen. Well, not exactly. However, we cannot breathe in said nitrogen, but we instead absorb it in food, such as bread, like just a bunch of food, vegetables, fruits, all of that, which plants actually get nitrogen from the atmosphere, from which our animals eat, and therefore eat said plant and vegetable, to which we eat animals, basically, right? And that's how we get our nitrogen. Pretty easy, right? It is not exactly, but it's good enough. Next, oh shit. That never happens. Yep. To our next, or I guess next to and last cycle, the eutrophication cycle. eutrophication, and the dead zones in said water. Now, eutrophication is a process where excessive nutrients, primarily nitrogen and phosphorus, are added into oceans, lakes, or rivers. It comes down from farms actually, and because of groundwater, it slowly goes into any nearby water and makes it poisonous because of fertilizer, which actually shows how much of like our fertilizer actually hurts our environment. Did that just change? Nah, probably not. And that should be about it, fellas. Well, my fellow travelers, scientists, or random people who have found this video for some reason, possibly even teachers, thank you for sitting with me and watching this project that I made in a couple of days. Weeks. It was weeks. That was your scientist, xankos, and I will see you later. Bye-bye. Also, but hey, that's just in theory. I just got kicked. Shit. If you want to see more xankos, I highly recommend watching his Cubs SMP videos, or the FNAF 2 movie trailer, that one has been getting too much fucking views for some reason.